This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Rockingham County's Sheriff's Spotlight. Today is December 21st of 2022, the first official day of winter. We welcome you to our podcast. I'm your host, Lieutenant Kevin Southard with the Sheriff's Office, and in the studio with me today is Sheriff Page. Sheriff,
good morning. Glad to be back. We've been off the air for about a month now.
Yes, we've had some
glad to be back.
Some things going on, but let's see. First of all, I believe congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
You have won your election to your 7th term as Sheriff of Rockingham County, which makes you the longest serving sheriff in Rockingham County's history.
Each day. We set a record each day.
That's right.
But we'll be starting our 25th year. Actually started December 8th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And for our viewing audience here for the podcast, I'm going to ask our great producer Roy Sawyers to show some of the pictures from the swearing-in ceremony that we did there while we're talking about this. But
that was kind of a historic swearing-in. Is not only did we reach the accomplishment of our 7th term, but also our new clerk of court, Abner Bullins, was elected. He's our former chief deputy.
Right.
For about 9 years.
Yeah.
And so he's in the building next door.
Yes.
So anyway,
and you were sworn in by him. He got sworn in, and then he swore you in as sheriff for your 7th term.
And then all our deputies.
Okay.
So it was a great day. It was a great day, and my mom was present also, my wife and father-in-law, and so we had some of our family there. And it was so crowded that we were all the way up to the judge's desk.
Yes, it was a big celebration.
Yeah, we talked about it. We've never seen it. We didn't seem to be that crowded before, but it was crowded.
Yes. It
was a good crowded.
Yeah, well, like you said, historic occasion, and we all had a good time.
Yes, sir.
And, it was a good time. 24 years you've been sheriff prior to this. Tell the audience, tell us, what are some of the things you're most proud of, some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of over your 24-year tenure as sheriff?
I think the biggest thing that I think about is when I first came in office in 1998, December of 1998, when I first met Kevin Southard and other employees, and we still have some of our employees still working that were there then. But being able to come in 1998 and be able to start my plan of what I wanted to see and the direction I wanted to see the agency start moving in, and the many years that we've worked together to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish, whether it would be in the area of supervision, making sure we have our qualified supervisors, making sure that we have the training, not only what the state mandates, but additional training that is important for each and every one of our deputies and each one of our staff. And also making sure that we have the technology there. We've moved so far ahead in training, technology.
Technology is a different world over the past 24 years from where we started out at and where we are now. I can say that from firsthand experience.
Got to say is you've got to give the men and women the training and the equipment to do their jobs. You've got to support them, and that's why I'm saying we're having some good supervisors. And then we've just got a great team. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't the team that we've built over the past 24 years. And I told somebody that means a lot to each and every one of our citizens, how important it is to have a transparent and a professional organization, which we have. And we work hard each day to make sure that we hit that mark. I always tell the guys and girls, do your best. That's all you can do, but do your best. And don't take shortcuts, do your best. And therefore, we've had the trust of the community, which is probably the biggest accomplishment, is building that trust, because if you don't have the trust of the community, you can't do your job.
Exactly.
So again, I could go step by step on different projects, different programs. We've done so many things, but just to move ahead in the areas of our personnel, making sure that we're hiring the best qualified personnel, being diverse, working with all communities in Rockingham County and making sure we're providing the best level of law enforcement service to our citizens. I think that's probably the biggest accomplishment, supported by the best people working in detention and admin and on the road and in investigations and in our schools. You know, we've just come so far.
Now, I know that you want to continue that effort into your next term here, but tell me about any kind of specific goals or aspirations that you'd like to see over this next 4 years?
What we've seen, and I got to say, in 40 years in law enforcement in Rockingham County, over 40 years, I've seen the pendulum swing. I've seen different things change and occur across the county, across the state, and across the nation. But the biggest problems that we're seeing in our communities today is making sure that people in our communities that need help are getting the mental health support and getting the support and treatment for addiction. Those are two areas. I participate on the opioid task force, and I work with Sand Hills and our county commissioners and our representatives that work with our mental health provider in Rockingham County. And I want to make sure that we do everything we can do to improve the level of service in the area of addiction, treatment, and mental health support. Now, that also relates to our jail, because a lot of people that come into our facility have medical issues, have mental health issues, and have addiction. We want to make sure that we're addressing those issues and that we run a safe and efficient and secure jail. We want to make sure that when we're out in the public that we're providing the service to work with all our service providers to make sure we take care of those persons in those need areas. Besides public safety, besides putting bad guys away that are doing bad things and protecting the public, we want to make sure that we also don't let persons with mental illness and addiction drop through the cracks, because each and every one of those persons is somebody's kids. Each and every one of those persons is somebody's family. And when we lose somebody due to addiction or mental health issues, when we lose somebody, that's somebody's family member, and that's important to them, that's important to us.
Absolutely. All right, on the national level, Title 42. We'll go into that here as to what it is. I'm going to get you to explain what it is and how it affects us here in Rockingham County on the local level. The national level always affects the local level, the trickle-down effect there. But it is December 21st, like I said at the beginning of the program, and I think they're still in a will they, won't they kind of situation as right now.
Right now, in the area of on immigration law, and you know, we hear the border issues. You know, we've talked about this over the years. You know, what happens at the border does affect each county of each state in America. And Title 42 was basically a law that came about in 1944, and it was a law dealing with public health and communicable disease and stuff like this. So under Title 42, it was brought out during the Trump administration that if someone came to our country, seeking to come into our country, and they came from a country that had, the use was COVID and public health concerns, that they could be prohibited from coming into the country under Title 42 under the law. You've also got Title 8, which is the general immigration law and stuff like that. That also says when persons come to our country, if they come here illegally, they can be returned back to their home country. And then you've got a situation with asylum, where persons come to our borders areas and they seek protection under the asylum laws, where they have credible fear that if they are returned back to their country, that they could face a harsh punishment or even death. So we have different things that apply to immigration law, different things apply. Then you got the public health restriction under Title 42. You used to have the Remain in Mexico policy under the Trump administration. Some of those policies were rescinded. They were fought out in the courts and stuff. Right now in the courts, they're waiting on a decision, I think, from the Supreme Court Justice Roberts on whether to take up this because right now it's in effect. Title 42 is still in effect. But it was slated to end today. I think his order
was going through today, and then they were going to decide whether or not the Supreme Court's going to take it up here in the future. Is that correct? And extend it until that time?
Right, and actually I was listening on the news last night where they talked about, the Biden administration is also talking about continuing it.
Yes.
And then let the courts make a decision, you know how long that will continue. So that's an issue, is that in border security, is really about national security and public safety. There's concern that when Title 42 drops, that because you don't have that restriction to be able to, for people coming in and out of the country, that there's a concern that there'll be more flow of people coming into our country, more flow of persons coming to our country that getting through that we don't know who they are, and then also the potential more illegal drugs such as fentanyl and heroin come through, which are taking lives every day in America.
That's right.
I don't think we said every 5 minutes somebody dies due to a fentanyl overdose in America. And that's the biggest killer of people age 18 to 45 is fentanyl.
Right. And the vast majority of immigrants that come over are just looking for a better way of life. But there are some with nefarious plans that sneak across those drugs and stuff.
To be clear, there are a lot of people coming from over 150 countries representative coming to our borders, north, south, and some of our international ports of entry are coming to seek asylum in the United States or to come here to seek work opportunities, economic opportunities. And then there's some that come through that are the criminal type. And if sure in any population, it's a small amount, but the persons that are coming through, there are persons that are also coming through that we don't know who they are. And that's that's besides the illegal drug activity, the persons have gotten into over 600,000 to 800,000 persons that have gotten into the United States coming through our borders that we don't know about. What I fear is another 9/11 because in 9/11, how many people were there that committed this act? And we're talking 600,000 to 800,000 people that we don't know have entered into our country. So again, border security, national security are very important to me. They're very important to sheriffs all across America. And we'll have to see, what our new Congress does in January of this year when they come in office, when they're sworn in. We'll see what the new Congress holds. We'll see about the relationship that they have with the current administration and President Biden. And we'll have to see. But decisions that are made in Congress, decisions made at the White House, all impact local. All politics are local. So whatever decisions are made will impact the different counties and states. As a sheriff in America, my concern is how we'll be impacted by some of these decisions. And that's why sheriffs, with the national sheriffs, with our State Sheriffs Association, work with our state legislature and work with our Congress to help craft laws and policies that will help protect the American citizens. And so that's what we try to do.
And that's what we need, especially with these record level of fentanyl and other drugs.
Yeah, something needs to be done. Something needs to be done now. But as this new Congress phases out, as this old Congress phases out, a new Congress will be coming in January. So it's kind of a wait and see. But we will pay attention because, again, as your sheriff, I have an obligation to protect, and this is the basic obligation of government, is to protect our citizens. And so I'm doing my part to look after the citizens of Rockingham County and make sure we protect and serve our citizens here, all of our citizens. And again, like I said, that's the first responsibility of government, including our Congress and our administration. So we're going to continue to see what's going on and continue to try to have input where we can to help make a difference in Rockingham County. Right. Rockingham County is my first priority.
Absolutely. So you are starting your 7th term here as sheriff. That started on December the 5th, I believe. Well, you're looking for a few good men and women to join our team here.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
Okay. We've seen since post-COVID, we've seen where a lot of the workforce, even though I hear there are thousands or millions of jobs that are there or were created and all this kind of stuff, but I hear from different professions, and particularly in public safety, that we're not getting the candidates that are looking for work opportunity. We're not seeing those candidates. Years ago, in the past, I'll say 10 years, 5 years or less, we used to see 20, 25 people sign up for a rookie school to go to our local community college so they become certified to become law enforcement officers in our community. And just recently they had to delay the class in January, move it to February because they didn't get enough candidates to apply. So my concern is we've got to get good qualified candidates who can pass the certain tests they have to pass to be able to move forward to be certified as officers in not only Rockingham County but across this country. And we're not seeing those numbers. So, you know, if a person has a good background, no criminal history, is at least 21 years of age, and is interested in getting into law enforcement, you do have to, in North Carolina, to go to a rookie school, you have to be sponsored by either a police chief or sheriff's office to attend the school. And then once you complete the school, then you can apply it at different agencies, you know, to work in law enforcement. But if you're interested in a good career, just like in Rockingham County, I'll just say, we just recently bumped our pay up. So we're very competitive in the market. We're above the market amount. And so if you're interested in a career in law enforcement as a law enforcement officer, as a sworn deputy, or you're interested as a career professional detention officer, those pay salaries are very good, and they're challenging. I'll tell you, all the work is challenging, but I think it's very rewarding too. So if you're interested in a career in law enforcement in Rockingham County as a detention officer or a sworn deputy, contact the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. Go to our website, rockinghamcountysheriff.com, and you can find out about that information. But hey, we're looking for some great people out there, and we know you're out there. So, you know, if you're looking for a great opportunity for a great career, come see us at the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office.
It is a good starting salary with benefits, free medical and dental and vision for the employees, and a lot of other benefits, paid time off, holidays, and so on and so forth. Great schedule for most
you're really only with our schedule. You really only work 6 months out of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of how we work and stuff like that.
So good pay, good schedule, good benefits, and great people.
And you're going to help your community. You're going to make your mark, help your community.
You know, it's an honor profession to be able to say, you know, I'm doing my part to protect and serve and help people in my community. Because years ago, when I first started in law enforcement, I was asked a question when I went to work in Fort Lauderdale PD, and they were interviewing me. They said, "Why do you want to be a police officer here at Fort Lauderdale? Why do you want to be in law enforcement?" And I said, "Because I want to help people." And that's been my mantra for my whole career: is I'm in it to help people.
And that's very rewarding.
From the military law enforcement to civilian law enforcement to where we're at today. Nothing's changed.
As I said a little bit earlier, it is the first official day of winter, and it is my understanding that especially come this weekend, the Christmas weekend, it is supposed to get considerably cooler. Those winter weather temperatures coming in, and we may have even some precipitation coming.
Right.
Give us some good safety tips about dealing with the winter weather, the cold, the potential for snow or ice when driving, that kind of thing.
Well, my first recommendation is watch your local news. You know, Rockingham Update. You know, you can watch your local news, your cable access, but look at your news services because they generally will follow the weather, and we got some good reporting. Make sure you follow the weather. If you know that the snow is coming or the freezing rain is coming, and if you have to work during the daytime, a lot of businesses take this into consideration. I know they do in government work. It is that you may have to delay your trip to give time for the roadway conditions to improve. And these yellow trucks out there, the North Carolina Department of Transportation, now they're changing to white too.
Oh, yeah.
They're changing the truck colors.
I didn't know that. Okay.
But what I'm saying is let them do their job. If it's snowing out there and it's a blizzard, let those men and women out there with North Carolina Department of Transportation, give them time to do their job before you get out on the highway. Because a lot of times, if you get out there before they've had a chance to get on the roadways, they treat the roads early and they try to get ahead of it. But at the end of the day, is give them time to get out there because it is dangerous and treacherous to have to drive at night and get out there early morning. Sometimes it's better to give time for the weather conditions to change, a little bit of warming, give time for the DOT workers to do their job out there. And then if you have to hit the road. Now, if you must be on the road, the best thing you can have with you is your cell phone. Another good thing is to have a flashlight. Another good thing is to have warm clothing and a blanket. Hey, the first aid kit's not bad.
Right.
And like I said, if you have those items, and also a bottle of water. I always keep a bottle of water in my car because you never know what you might need it for. But again, don't travel unless you have to. If the weather is really bad conditions, don't travel unless you actually have to. But if you do have to get out, make sure that your vehicle's in good shape. Make sure your air pressure is good in your tires. Worst thing you want to do is you have a cold day and your air pressure goes down and you're running near flat.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That
so
is.
make sure your vehicle's in condition and got plenty of fuel. Fill up. Make sure you get plenty of fuel and your vehicle's in good condition if you do have to get out and travel in inclement weather.
That's right. And drive
Watch
for
your
the
speed.
conditions of the road.
That's right. Just because it says 55 doesn't mean you need to drive down in the snow at 55
Even
miles.
if you're in a four-wheel drive, just because you can doesn't mean you should, because it's not always going. A lot of times it's stopping in the weather that's the issue.
From experience, you can get a four-wheel drive stuck. You can run off the road and get in a ditch with a four-wheel drive, and you can get yourself hurt. And the thing about it is I've watched over the past 40 years in different snow periods. I've seen people as the front-wheel drives came online. I saw how people will get out with front-wheel drives, some more vehicles with front-wheel. We've seen a lot of all-wheel drive vehicles, and then we see the four-wheel drive vehicles. But regardless, drive for the conditions. If the snow is too deep and you have a little car, you might not want to get out right away until they scrape. The DOT scrapes, but make sure you pay attention to conditions. And the best thing is if you don't have to travel, don't. Now, make sure that, and I know this is going to cause a run on bread. We always talk about milk and bread.
Milk and
right?
bread, yep.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong business.
Right.
Should have been in the milk and bread business. But if you do see that bad weather's coming, make sure you got some supplies to last you for a few days. What happens if, for example, you may have a power outage? Because a lot of times when you get the ice, you have the power outages.
That certainly
and stuff
can,
like this.
yes.
Make sure at home, flashlights, candles, alternate heat source, and if you do use an alternate heat source like a kerosene, make sure you properly ventilate and make sure that you have a fire extinguisher nearby or some way to extinguish in case there was a fire, because a lot of times this time of year we see people crank up those chimneys and stuff like this, and if they're not in good condition, sometimes you can have fires.
Right. And it's always a good idea whether you fill up some buckets prior or some empty gallon jugs or whatever to have some water on hand.
Water on hand, just in case.
Just in case.
And another thing I think about when we talk about inclement weather and cold weather is, and we also think about it during hot weather too, when we get to hot season, but look out for your senior citizens. We have a lot of senior citizens that live by themselves throughout the county in the rural areas, and make sure that if you have a family or friend or somebody goes to your church that's a senior, make sure you check on them. Get those phone trees going. Make sure you check on them and stuff. Okay, just check on them. Make sure they got food to eat. They're warm. Or in the summertime when it's real hot, they're cool. But make sure that you look out for your seniors. Also, make sure a lot of times I watch a show on TV from the ASPCA and stuff, and I'll see dogs chained outside or dogs outside in the cold, stuff like this, or cats and stuff. Make sure you look after your furry friends too. Make sure you keep an eye. Under North Carolina law, you're required to provide food, shelter, and water and stuff like this. And I would add, in a warm place, particularly during these cold times. If you can bring your pet in, bring them in. Now, I know people that have cows and horses, you can't just bring them into the house.
Right.
I got friends that have horses, and one I talk to pretty regular. But if you can, you got a barn, get them in where it's warm and stuff like this. But look after your pets and animals too.
Absolutely. The 2022 Christmas toy drive. We're winding down from that. It's been a huge success. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, we started about a month ago. We started our toy drive and ran through December 15th. Okay, and we collected toys supporting the Salvation Army of Rockingham County, which means that toys that went to the Rockingham County main site in Reidsville would be able to do distribution out across the county. So we've always worked hard to support the Salvation Army of Rockingham County. And I think we had a very successful toy drive. I saw several people. I got to participate with several of the toys coming in. We've transferred a lot of toys.
A number of truckloads.
I would assume that they're probably doing distribution in the next day or so.
I believe that they've already started. They'll do so many a day, having people come, parents, and come and pick that up. That way they have time to wrap the stuff that they're getting for their kids and stuff like that. So enough time.
So the Rockingham County Salvation Army is working in conjunction with us in law enforcement, and also, if you're out and you hear somebody ringing the bell, the Red Cattle Drive, that's moving on. And going right now at a lot of stores that you go to. So if you can, throw in a little change and help out a little bit, because every little bit helps. Every coin helps. Every dollar helps.
Well, and the Salvation Army in particular, I mean, they don't just handle toys at Christmas and stuff like that. We're talking, they feed people in need. Hunger's a year-long problem.
That's right. That's right, because now we get into the food banks. A lot of our churches, a lot of our organizations, a lot of our nonprofits are getting into the food banks and stuff like that. But hunger is something that we have in Rockingham County, and you brought it up. It's not just Thanksgiving, it's not just Christmas. It's year round.
Year round.
So make sure. Remember, there are people in Rockingham County that are homeless, and I don't know the numbers, but there are people that are homeless in Rockingham County. And you just imagine if you were out in this weather tonight. So the thing is, and we do have some homeless shelters. We do have some homeless shelters in Eden and Madison, Reidsville. But you'll need to check. You can check with your local law enforcement agency if you have any questions on that. But homeless persons are homeless. Salvation Army does provide meals. In emergencies, they do provide support for natural catastrophe. Just like the American Red Cross, they work. We usually run into both organizations, but they do good things. So donate where you can, and help those that sometimes can't help themselves.
Right, that's great.
Giving is a good thing. Let me say that.
We're at the 2-minute warning here for our show, and with Christmas and New Year's coming up, what are a few tips and a final message you'd like to give to our listeners and viewers this holiday season?
Well, at Christmas time, don't forget the reason for the season, and remember I think in America and across the world. If we reach out to people, if we show our love and caring for one another, I think it goes a long ways. Again, just hopefully this year that we can have peace in America. We can have peace in the world, and I just hope everybody will just try to reach out and show kindness to one another. Love mankind, love one another,
right?
And treat people how you want to be treated. And I think we can have a better world. And in Rockingham County, we're going to continue. I look forward to coming into 2023. I look forward to working with the citizens of Rockingham County and looking after the citizen, protecting, serving. Our deputies are going to do everything they can to provide the best level of service to our citizens. And again, I just look forward to being out there working and being part of the community. Because remember, law enforcement is not apart from, we're a part of. And we remind our guys every day, go out and do your best. And I think that I just wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a safe and Happy New Year.
And part of that safe and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas is going to be not drinking and driving. Obviously, if you consume any alcohol, have a designated driver.
Right.
Get an Uber or whatever. Don't
do not drink and drive. Do not drink and drive. If you do consume, you have a designated driver, because we will be out watching and we'll be out looking for persons that.
So will the Highway Patrol. I believe that Booze It or Lose It is in heavy effect between now and the first of the year, in particular campaign. But more important than all of that, more important than the tickets and the insurance and all of that, we want to make sure that everybody gets to their destination safely and back home safely, and is able to celebrate many, many more years of Christmas and New Year's with us. So.
Keep all of your public safety workers, your fire, your volunteer firemen, your firefighters, your paramedics, your telecommunicators, your local law enforcement, all your public safety. Let's keep them all in your prayers, because we need it more now than ever. And again, we appreciate everything that all our law enforcement and our public safety do across this county, this state, and this nation. We thank them, and we thank you again for your support. And I look forward to 2023.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2023 on Sheriff Spotlight.